On a crisp autumn day, November 21st, 1783, the long-held dream of human flight was finally realized. Two men, Jean-François Pilâtre de Rozier and the Marquis d'Arlandes, ascended into the skies above Paris within a fragile envelope of heated air. Their vessel was the celebrated invention of the Montgolfier brothers, a magnificent balloon that transformed imagination into tangible reality. The launch site was the elegant estate of the Chateau de la Muette, from which their silent ascent began a new chapter for mankind. For approximately 25 minutes, they floated, masters of a previously forbidden domain, traversing roughly 9 kilometers of countryside before their gentle return to Earth. The balloon itself was a masterpiece of artistry as much as engineering, a floating canvas intended to glorify the monarchy. Contemporary illustrations, which have immortalized the event, show its splendid blue and gold decoration in exquisite detail. Its surface was a tapestry of allegorical imagery, featuring prominent royal insignia, celestial symbols of the zodiac, and the emblematic sun of the Bourbon kings. Every motif, from the grandest cipher to the smallest star, served a deliberate symbolic purpose. This visual splendor was a direct and lavish homage to the reigning sovereign, His Majesty King Louis XVI, tying the wonder of scientific progress to the glory of the crown. Beneath its dazzling exterior lay a practical construction of cotton canvas, meticulously lined with paper to improve its ability to contain the vital heated air. The structure was monumental in scale, towering over the spectators at more than 18 meters in height, a true leviathan of its time. The source of its lift was a primal and carefully managed fire, burning within an iron grate that hung perilously beneath the balloon's swelling neck. The chosen fuel was a smoky mixture of old wool and damp straw, a combination that produced a thick, warm smoke believed at the time to be the very essence of levity, the property that caused the great sphere to rise. The flight was a delicate and perilous operation from start to finish, requiring constant vigilance from its aerial navigators. Pilâtre de Rozier and d'Arlandes carried bundles of the damp fuel aloft with them, tasked with feeding the fire to maintain their altitude. They also bore sponges and buckets of water to douse the frequent flames that leapt onto the balloon's dry, paper-lined interior from the open fire below. Theirs was a precarious dance between creating enough lift and preventing a catastrophic conflagration, all while drifting over the rooftops of Paris. The chosen route took them southeast from their launch, passing notable landmarks that highlighted their incredible altitude. They floated over the sprawling monasteries of Saint-Germain-des-Prés and the spires of Saint-Sulpice, giving the aeronauts a godlike perspective on the city. Their path followed the course of the Seine for a time, the river gleaming in the afternoon light far below. The men later reported hearing the astonished shouts of people in the streets, their voices rising faintly through the vast silence that surrounded the balloon's serene passage. The landing, like the flight, was an exercise in improvisation and mild hazard. After crossing the city's outskirts, they found themselves descending towards the open farmlands of the banlieue. As the balloon settled, its dragging anchor caught in a peasant's field, but the craft was still buoyant enough to be pulled along by the wind. The two men, now acting as ground crew, were dragged some distance before they could fully extinguish the fire and collapse the enormous envelope, finally bringing their historic journey to an undignified but safe conclusion. The immediate aftermath was a mixture of triumph, relief, and philosophical reflection. The aeronauts were met by local farmers, and soon after, by dignitaries who had pursued them by carriage. They drank toasts with the humble peasants, celebrating a victory that belonged to all of humanity. The successful flight provided irrefutable proof that the atmosphere was navigable, shattering ancient preconceptions. It was not merely a scientific experiment, but a profound cultural event that instantly captured the global imagination and sparked an era of balloonomania. The legacy of those 25 minutes is preserved for us in the detailed engravings and paintings commissioned in the wake of the event. These period illustrations are invaluable records, capturing the grandeur of the balloon, the awe of the crowds, and the spirit of an enlightened age daring to reach for the heavens. They allow us to witness, centuries later, the historic 1783 Montgolfier balloon flight, a fragile, fire-fed bubble that irrevocably changed humanity's relationship with the sky and with its own potential.